That's your money saying it's time for a McDonald's run. Because with new McValue at McDonald's, you get more than you expect. Like buy a 6-piece McNuggets and add a McChicken for just $1. Your money says let's go. Get more than you expect with new McValue. Prices and participation may vary. Valid for item of equal or lesser value.
Welcome to Schmactors, a podcast series that seeks to answer the question, are Hollywood actors all spoiled, vapid, vacuous, and vain ingrates, or do some of them actually have interesting views on issues of the day? Or is it a mixed bag? James Marsters and Mark Devine are putting themselves to the test. They're leaving it up to you to decide if they're interesting or just plain nuts. Listen as they peel back their craniums, share the surprising thoughts that fill their heads, and draw back the curtain on the world's zaniest town. Gentlemen, welcome back. It's been a while since we've seen each other. How have you been?
It's been a hot minute, man. Yeah, I've missed you guys.
It's good to see you guys.
I was on the other side of the earth.
You went to China?
No, I didn't go to China, but it might become China in the next decade or so. We don't know. It was Australia.
Easy with the politics. Yes.
Yeah, I went to Australia and I hung out with my mates. And it was weird because I was always offended by how expensive everything, like a sandwich is like $30, man.
Yeah.
But then I realized that it's not, because the Australian dollar is like 66% of a dollar. So it actually, like a $30 sandwich is only $17.50.
So I don't know all that 66% or whatever that is, but so it ends up okay, but it comes out like $80 for something, a glass of water, and then they're like, no.
Yeah, you just feel like everyone's rich. Oh, yeah, $30 for a sandwich. We're Australian. Yeah. We can afford it,
Do they have a living wage, by the way, not to get into that?
They do. Yeah. You don't even have to tip people, and they can still afford lunch. Yeah, they get like a real paycheck and everything.
Now you're going to get a bunch of emails about, actually we do accept tips in Australia.
You and I have been to Australia, my man. We've had good times in Australia.
The thing I love about Australians, they remind me of Canadians. It always feels like Australians are always there for the Americans. They know we're kind of like this messed up older brother that needs some help every now and then. They're like, just don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I'm doing the Beatles. Sorry,
it's all right. Just don't do it again, mate. Just don't do it again. We're all right.
I had an Australian friend, and he said, you know what you call an Australian mate without a girlfriend?
What's that,
what?
Mate?
He said, homeless. I remember being in Australia, and boy, I was so prepared like that. It's like 48 hours to get there or something like that from wherever. Yeah. And everybody talks about it. It's like, God, I want to go there, but like it takes forever. And then, and so you finally
14 hours, but yes. 14 hours.
Oh, okay. You told me 48 hours.
I was
and
lying.
So I just thought, I don't even know if that's like almost 2 days.
No, I was bragging, but no, it's 14.
It took a long time. So I was prepared mentally for that. And then I'm like, that wasn't so bad. But having been like on the road with you and we're just two guys, I think we may have heard a couple in the other room at one point where we just kind of sat in our twin beds, sort of pitifully, just waiting for them to stop. And,
and they weren't arguing.
And then we started judging because we said, okay, I think they're done. And then you started hearing slapping even faster. And now I'm like irritated with the guy that he's able to do that. And and again, just silence in there. And we said, okay, there. Well, and then we hear it. They're not done. And then it's louder and louder and louder and louder. And we both hate the guy.
Let's spread good cheer out into the radio waves and let's answer some questions. Jason, what do you got for us?
All right, our first question is, hi, this is Victoria from Uruguay. Yes, Uruguay.
Wow.
Great podcast. How did you deal with fame in the beginning, and what advice would you give to young artists who are experiencing fame for the first time?
Oh, geez, James, I have like a drop of fame. You dealt with it. You go first.
You've got
Well, you always tell me, even before we did this podcast, I'm like, nobody knows who the F I am, Yeah,
they do.
Because of you, I'm like riding on your coattails, man. I'm like your Garfinkel. Garfunkel.
Garfunkel. Yeah. I'm Simon. I'm Paul. No, like I'm Paul and you're Ringo. Because Ringo's underappreciated.
We're like the guys genius. In Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And I'm like the stunt man
that's right. Just kick-ass stunt man with a dog that you do not mess with. That's Mark Devine. Don't mess with his dog.
I don't know who that actor was.
Some guy. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would say that fame is toxic to the human soul. If you get around it and get close to it, it's like radiation. It starts to do damage. And the longer you're exposed to it, the worse it gets. It has tempted me to think that I was different than other people, that other people couldn't understand what I was going through. And it's not true. I'm just a guy. And it made me feel lonely. It tempted me to take myself seriously as if whatever was on my plate was more important than what was on your plate. That you're going off the rails when that thought occurs to you. What occurs to me. And I read an article with Tom Hanks in an interview, and they asked him, why are you so normal? After all of these decades of being one of the most famous people on the planet, you're so normal, and you got your feet on the ground. He said, it's easy. I just have my private life and my public life, and there's a wall in between them. So I hang out with people who probably don't care or really mention what I do for a living. And I find that keeps me normal. And I was like, that's very simple, and I think I could do that. And that's what I've tried to do ever since I read that article, actually.
The one time I ever experienced the tip of this.
Just the tip.
Was after. Did you just say just the tip?
I didn't say anything. That was your head.
Did you just say just the tip? It's okay. Cut that out. I want to replay this.
I totally took that one.
So I did Sex and the City, and it was, because it was the new premiere of the second season, it was all over the papers and everything. And everybody watched it. And at that time, this girl broke up with me, and I was devastated, just devastated, living in New York. So I went down to a bodega and got like a 6-pack of beer and cigarettes. And I just thought, I'm just going to, cry myself to sleep. And there's a girl there with her mom. She's like, oh my God. And she said, Mom, this is our first celebrity sighting.
Yeah.
I'm looking around like, who's here? And she's like, were you the guy on Sex and the City? And I couldn't. And I said, yeah. And she said, oh my, we just saw it. We literally just saw it. And I could not even fake a smile. I mean, my anxiety and depression, and I wasn't trying to be cool. I didn't want to be rude. I just didn't want that at all. And I said, oh, okay. Thank you so much. And I just walked away, she's introducing me to her mom and all this stuff. This is before selfies, thank God. But I remember like walking as fast as I could back home, thinking like that person will now think we met that guy and he was a jerk, or something's wrong with that person. And I thought, this is really scary. I don't want to experience this. So I think there was always a sense of, I don't want to be recognized in any way. And then coming to California, that there was one gym everybody went to, all these actors. And after I work out, like I can't say a word. I can't. And my face is twitchy and I can't make eye contact. And, I was really drinking a lot too at that time. And and I couldn't stay in a conversation. So I would just isolate. Yeah. And I thought it'd be so brutal. Like, I don't know what you went through personally with it, but I remember the Gibb brothers talked about Andy Gibb, and they said, what happened? And they said, well, when you become famous, you truly believe everything that you say is this golden nugget of truth that everybody is kind of what you talked about. And then if you're mature, you get over that, once you've been famous for a while, and just kind of like your Tom Hanks story that, I'm a flawed human being. And he said, Andy never could get over that. Hence more and more cocaine and then death. And they were waiting for their brother to cross over to that normal side. And it never happened. So yeah, I agree. Poisoning the soul, or poisoning the United States, or whatever you said.
Yeah. They say that even if you have a secure personality and you've got strong upbringing or whatever, you go crazy for at least 2 years. And I think that's because everyone around you is telling you, oh, that's a great joke. Wow, you're funny when you're not funny, or so interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
And you forget, oh, I'm paying these people. That's my publicist telling me that's an interesting story. Of course she's going to say that. Yeah.
You're yes men.
But and again, that's just me. That's my reaction to fame. Everyone has a different one. I think that there are people, really perfectly good people, who enjoy it and don't go crazy. But for me, from early on, I had a reaction. I remember I was on the speech team in high school, and there's a dramatic interpretation thing that you go do. You go do like a monologue from a play. I don't know why they put that on the speech team, because it's all about debate, and they're basically training lawyers and politicians, but they put this thing on. So they needed me, and I would win or get third or second, quite often. So I had a bunch of trophies, and they were kind of building up.
Yeah.
And I just, at one point, I think I was 17 years old, and I just put them in a cardboard box, labeled it James's Ego, and put it in the garage. And that was just so from early on, I guess for whatever reason, I've had an instinct to turn away from that or try to insulate myself from that, from ego.
So what's advice to young people that, I remember you saying everybody wants to be famous.
Mm-hmm.
What's your advice to young people that might be crossing to that threshold?
I would just say, just remember that you're not better than other people. You're just very, very lucky.
Yeah.
I think that there's anyone, whether it's getting famous or getting very successful in any job, there is an instinct to say, well, I earned this. I worked hard for this. I pulled myself up from my bootstraps. Everybody else was just watching cartoons, but I didn't. I put my, and that may be to some extent true, but there's another part of it that really is just luck.
100%.
Some people are luckier, and so if I stay in that kind of thinking, then I'm kind of like the Beatles, like, oh my God, I can't believe they're giving us sandwiches again. This is great, free lunch,
Yeah.
And if I lose that, then I start to get frustrated that people aren't following my orders.
Yeah.
Or bending to my will or whatever. Yeah.
Well, I had to explain to my mother about who the Hakua Girl was.
I don't know what the Hakua. What the heck is Hakua? Can we even talk about it? I think I halfway know what this is. And Jason's laughing because we're going to have to cut this.
Well, I know the majority of the audience does know it, and my son's right next to me, so I don't want to explain it. But she's from the South, and she said, you just got to Hakua on that sucker and just go at it.
Okay. Well,
and
wow, she got famous for that.
And so she's famous. And yet, I don't know if it's irony or I don't know what this is called, but she's pretty cool with her fame. You know, she's like a real sensible young woman that just kind of speaks her mind. She's not full of herself. But to explain that to my 85-year-old mom, like, what is this? Why do I keep reading? The Hakua Girl is on Jimmy Kimmel. And I'm like, I don't know what's happening. By the way, Uruguay, this is from Uruguay, correct?
Yeah.
To our friend in Uruguay, I had, I do my physical therapy, and there's a woman there saying that she's going to Uruguay. And I just, for whatever reason, I just said, oh God, it's so beautiful. She said, you've been? I've never been. But I decided just to lie and say, oh yeah, it's stunning. The people are great. And in my mind, I'm like, why? This is one of these, I think Jerry Seinfeld talks about this. Why are we lying about something so stupid like that? Where I'm like, it's just beautiful. And she's like, where did you go? And I'm like, oh God, it was like San something and L something. Food's great. People are beautiful,
something.
But I'm like, don't go too deep into this, because I'm going to see her again. And,
Well, now she knows. So
it's one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen, though. Great people.
Uruguay is good, fame, dangerous.
Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
Jason, what's up?
Adrian would like to know, if you had to give a speech right now detailing all of the knowledge that you have around astronomy, how long would the speech take and what would you say?
Oh, for God's sake. Now, is that reading the stars or is that astrology? Because I could talk about that.
Astronomy is the scientific thing. Astrology is...
I'm out.
Is the other.
I'm out. Okay.
I'm
out.
Well, I could probably go on for 7.5 minutes without puffing myself into stuff that I don't understand. And I guess that I would lean into the things that we don't understand, which is so exciting. There are a few scientific categories where we're admitting our ignorance, like quantum physics is one, and astronomy is another one, where we're like, I don't know why that is. That's just, we're completely in the dark. And we don't really know why spiral galaxies don't just fling apart. There doesn't seem to be enough matter that we can measure that would hold it together gravitationally.
Are we a spiral galaxy? What is that?
Yeah. We have a center and everything's spinning around that center. And we're pretty darn sure that's a supermassive black hole in the center of the Milky Way. And everything is very much like everything's spinning around our sun.
Like a toilet.
In our solar system. That solar system is spinning around and our star is spinning around a supermassive black hole. But there's just 100 billion stars circling that black hole. So
I'll show you a supermassive black hole. That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we don't know that as we've looked at all of the stars, and there's just not enough matter to have enough gravity to hold the thing together. It should just fly off, and we've made up this thing called dark matter because it's got to be something, we think, but we can't. When we're just like, well, there's this thing called dark matter which we can't see, we can't measure, and can't perceive. So that must be it. But it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
That's what we call a guess, And then there's this thing called dark energy. So everything's getting further away from everything else as if there was a large explosion and boom, the Big Bang happened and everything's just kind of like running away from each other in this big radius. And they would have expected that gravity would take over and slow this expansion of the universe, right? And the whole question was, is there enough gravity that gravity is going to take over and everything's going to pull back and crunch into a singularity again at the end of the universe? Or is there not enough matter and it's just going to fly apart and we're going to end up with a diffuse, cold universe, a dead universe that way? And we didn't know. When we finally were able to measure it all, we found that everything was accelerating. The expansion was accelerating, not slowing.
Faster and faster.
Right. And the further things were away from each other, the faster they were accelerating from each other. Now, what is that? Now, instead of just being like, man, we don't know what that is, we said, well, that's dark energy. It must be. There's a repulsive force in the universe that is. But again, this is just.
Are we getting into Star Wars stuff here with this whole dark energy?
No, this is real. This is Star Trek.
Okay.
This is real. This is Star Wars fantasy.
Star Trek talks more about that?
Observable. Star Trek might.
Okay.
So we don't know. Those are the two major things that make me think if we can admit that we really don't know, we might discover something interesting.
Did you see the UAP hearings in Congress?
I don't even know what UAP stands for.
It's the new word for UFO.
Oh, why can't we just call it UFO?
Because it sounds so like 1950s McCarthyism.
I know, it's cool.
Yeah,
it's cool. Unidentified. Well, that's not cool, but okay.
No, this
UAP.
was a huge. This was a huge.
I thought it was
hearing.
a parcel company. I thought it was like UPS or something.
No, but you had like the top physicists from NASA, from the Department of Justice, all pretty much telling Congress these things are showing up more and more. And it really, I was riveted by it because I'm just like, this feels like a movie. It just seems so, we're seeing these underwater. And the physicist was talking about, if we kept how we learned about black holes in the dark, these need to be declassified so that we can understand this more. Watch it because it's just like they're begging and they're credible sources, you know?
Yeah.
They wrote something all to Congress for funding and the pursuit of declassifying all this stuff because, of course, we're afraid that, you know, the obvious that this is technology that we have no idea. What they basically do is bring in a physicist, you know, privately, like the famous guy at Roswell. I can't remember.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's like, we have no way of understanding this. I have no idea what this energy is.
Okay, here's why I think they're never going to admit this.
Yeah.
And this is not my idea. I read this. So the basic job of a government is to keep everyone safe from attack. That's the basic organizing principle. If another force attacks us or messes with us, we can defend our borders and we can control our borders and our airspace and our land borders. And so having these craft that just zip by our fighters and underneath our water, and we don't know what it is and we don't know anything about it, if they admit that, then they undercut their own power. And they undercut their own credibility. And actually, when I think about it, they might incite panic by admitting that. So I suspect that this is going to remain around the edges of our understanding, and that they're not going to fully disclose the whole thing.
I encourage you to watch it because I almost missed the Tyson fight because I was listening to this. And by the way, did you watch the Tyson fight? Not to go into that. I know we're talking about astronomy. What's your sign, by the way?
I'm a Leo.
What a waste. What a waste. The women were phenomenal fighting, but it was theater. It was theater. And then it reminds me, James, of our age because you think of like this ferocious Mike Tyson. Looks like one of our dads maybe trying to, do it.
Well, Foreman pulled it off, but
Foreman's a different breed of cat. But they kept saying, he is 58. It's just like, but it just looked like a little man shuffling around out there. And then I realized, oh, that's our age. And I'm just like, am I that bad? Where I know in Mike's in his brain, he's thinking, I can do this. And then Jake Paul just kind of started like just being respectful. He wasn't going to just beat him up like, what happened to Muhammad Ali when he was done. They just beat the shit out of him. And, so they're just shuffling around, but you have so the crowd starts booing. Shows Charlize Theron going, punch him.
Oh God.
But it was just showbiz. At any rate, so I went back to the UAP.
I think they paid
hearings.
they paid Mike Tyson a lot of money to lose. He probably knew he was going to lose, but he probably got $1 million
just to step in the ring. And it was like Barnum and Bailey's circus.
Would you step in the ring with a 58-year-old Mike Tyson for $1 million?
Of course. After I saw what he could do last night, he couldn't move. I mean, you knew like immediately it was over.
What about with the other guy? Would you step in the ring with the other guy?
No, because I'm not that. He's a different weight class. But here's the thing. I just, I challenged an 18-year-old all-state Georgia football player to a race because in my mind, I thought I could do it. And I'm 56 and I haven't worked out for 2 years. I just did a little bit of stretching and they said, on your mark, get set, go. And then, ruptured my whole Achilles. And so this whole year I've had surgery.
Is there a video of that? Please tell me there's a video.
It's somewhere out there because the whole family, even my son saw it. And he's like, Daddy, you said you could do everything. And I'm like, just let me sit down here.
Okay. Jason, let's get back on track. And answer a question. No. This is good. This is great. But let's keep going. Roll it, buddy.
By the way, Mike Tyson got a $20 million guarantee.
There it is.
Listen,
there it is. For $20 million, I would step in with anybody.
That's going to get you through the rest of the year, at least Christmas.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Ellie wants to know, do either of you guys have any weird talents? And if not, are there any weird talents you'd like to have?
Your voice, dude. I have a buddy that can do that voice, but I don't know how you do that.
Unflappably optimistic voice.
Yeah.
Jason has an unflappable voice. He always can be like, hey, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Like for the apocalypse, if there's one person on the radio left on Earth, I want it to be Jason.
Yeah.
Today in sports, well, we don't have anything, but anyway, like that would be
How are
awesome.
you? Yeah.
Hey, kids, today let's talk about chlamydia.
Exactly.
We've got to do a podcast of Jason on the last human on Earth, still broadcasting.
That would make I'd see that. That'd be a Disney film. I wish I were the guy that could turn his eyelids inside out.
Yeah, that got all the girls back in high school.
Yeah. The one guy that does that, that I grew up with, Dan Connolly, who invented the HTTP. I've told you about that a couple of times. I don't know if he'd like me to.
I don't know what that is. Is that a printer?
It's a secure server.
Okay. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't even know the Hakua Girl.
I don't. I never met her. Probably would like to. I can't think of talent. I can strum my guitar and sing, and I can act. What else do I want to do? I'm lazy. I don't want to develop another talent. Seems like a lot of work. Seems like it would have to be a talent that you don't have to work to get better. It's just there.
Yeah.
I would like to do impressions.
Yeah.
I can do accents, but I can't do impressions of other people.
Try an impression of me. Just try me.
I can't.
It's okay. I won't be offended.
I won't be offended.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep talking. I'll just do you.
Dana Carvey did an imitation of
Dana
me.
Carvey did an imitation of me.
That's
as
good.
as I got.
That's
good. Is
good.
that good? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, maybe I could do that. If I could do that. Like if I could have done a better imitation of the guy on Marvel's Runaways, like he was the alien. He was such a good actor. And he took over my body on the show. Not in real life. Now we got to be careful about this. He didn't touch
Kiss
me.
Of the Spider-Woman.
I was safe at all times, but in the show, fictionally, he took over my body. So I had to be him in my skin. And so I just filmed him doing all of the dialogue and all of the action, and then I just did exactly what he was doing. And then, and that worked great for the end of the season. But then the next season, he was off doing another show, and I had to do him without his help. And that just fell apart, just completely. And then we got canceled. So maybe if I could do impressions better. Anyway.
I'll try to do you. I like impressions. That's how I got into this.
Okay, Mark, try to do me now.
Yeah,
try to do James Marsters.
Yeah, man. Yeah. What I think, to be honest, is the universe is a vast, vast growing. So, okay, two things. Okay. Oh, I was thinking this. What I love so much
That's pretty good.
is when you would have your fans come up to a microphone and you're on stage or whatever, and they'd ask you questions and you couldn't hear them. You go, get up real close to that microphone, kiss it.
Yeah, like a rock star. Put your lips on that thing.
There you go.
You might get shocked, but it's worth it.
Yeah. Kiss that. All right.
Okay, so I would do impersonations of other people. That would be fun at parties too.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good talent. I got nothing. What I found is I thought, they say like there might be a John McEnroe out there that doesn't even know that they're John McEnroe. And so during the downtime, which was like most of 10 years of doing the Maytag stuff, I had a lot of time to myself. So I thought, I bet you because I love music so much that I'm probably really talented at it.
Yeah.
I was horrible. I tried guitar. I sucked. I couldn't remember anything. And I'd practice so hard. And I'm like, I don't have any talent to do this. But then it gave me relief that I can just sit back and watch people that are talented at it,
So guitar would be yours or piano.
oh, I wish I could play a musical instrument. And even the guy that's teaching me, he's like, yeah, you have like zero talent, but it doesn't mean that you can't play still. Everybody should still play. And I'm like,
Were you paying him to teach you the instrument?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Keep doing it. We should.
Yeah.
You have no ability, but we should continue.
Nothing.
You can do it.
Nothing. Like, what can you play? Do you sing? I barely can do it. Yeah, none of that. But I'm envious, and so I can sit back and really enjoy other people that can. I can light my farts.
This has been awesome. This has been awesome.
I'm here, and that was Adrian too.
Was that Adrian?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I just got to say, I've been looking forward to this for the past week, just knowing that we were going to get back in the studio and I was going to see you guys' faces.
Yep.
And I see that divine smile. Oh God, yeah. It's like food, like water in the desert. Yeah.
With all the stuff going on, guys, it always makes me feel good to just sit and talk with friends, and I encourage everybody to keep laughing no matter what. Talk to a friend. You don't have to be funny, but just talk to somebody else. And I always get off here making feel.
Yeah, and if you don't have a joke,
good.
tickle them. Tickle them, even if it pisses them off. Just tickle them a little bit.
We don't have to be super duper serious. Yep. Then run like hell. Run like hell.
Bye.
Bye. That's my favorite murder. That's how they do it. I love those girls. I hope they become fans.
Thanks for listening to Schmactors. Join James and Mark next time for more pointed pontification on the topics of the day. Do you have a burning question that you just can't wait to have the guys answer? Well, then head on over to schmactors.com and send it our way. If the answer won't get them canceled, we'll add it to the queue. And if you have a friend who you think would enjoy the show, use the share button in your podcast player and send it to them directly. Trust me, it'll make their day. Signing off for James and Mark, this is producer Jason. Until we meet again.